At the time, they had 2 jobs. I had sales jobs and
restaurant.
The restaurant was
and you get
tight.
child support.
Correct.
And how much child support do you get for the children?
Was around $1,200
a month.
Yes.
When you were living with Mr. Jordan, living with him in December 20, what kind of work was he doing?
He was unemployed at first, and then
unemployed. No, just in December. He was unemployed.
December
2020.
I'm not sure. I can't keep track of all his jobs. He had so many.
Okay, so either he was unemployed or had a series of...
He was right. So he was doing the micro wrestling, then he went to cheesecake, then he went to another job.
His employment history, let us say, was sketchy.
I wouldn't say sketchy, just...
What, you go from job to job and sometimes you're employed. I would describe that as sketchy.
Sketchy, I guess, yeah. Yeah, trying to figure things out.
You were working to support you and your kids and was getting $1,200 child support. When he was living with you, was he paying any portion of the rent?
To be.
Now, that's not my question. You met in January. You moved in a few months later in December of 2020, which is almost a year. Between that period of time, did he pay you any rent?
Not a set amount, no. He just gave me a little bit towards utilities.
The answer is no rent.
No, he paid no rent.
Now, did he go with you to the dentist?
Yes. And
were you and were you told how much the dental work would be?
Yes.
How much?
Around $13,376.
Well, Jordan didn't have that.
No, so we were going to do some sort of financing, so.
You were living with him for a year. You know all the rules. You know the
credit score.
What?
I didn't know his credit score.
You were living with him. You sound like an intelligent woman. You know that when you have a sketchy work history, and you knew that that was accurate, you don't have much of a credit history. So you signed on to allow him to get the dental work with your credit card. Oh.
Yes.
Now, in what month and year did you separate?
In October of 2020.
Between December, or when you separated, how many payments did Mr. Jordan make on the credit card for his dental work?
0.
How many payments?
I have made every payment since.
Right.
Christina Parra claims former boy Jordan owes for a dental bill. Lorenzo is countersuing for injuries resulting from an assault.
Now, after you went to the dentist, after you knew he had no credit, after you put it on your card, and after he made no payments on that card, in what you arranged for this trip to visit his ex-girlfriend and his child?
A couple months, maybe, after.
A couple of teeth.
Possibly, yeah.
I know the story. I've been here forever. So after he got new teeth, better,
and could eat
according
properly.
to you, you felt badly that he had not connected with his child. Clearly, he didn't feel badly. Now, am I reading these papers right? You reached out to the ex-girlfriend?
Yes, I did.
Him. You reached...
He asked me to, yes.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did. He wanted to see his child.
No. I want you to tell me exactly how that happened.
Yes.
That's you to reach out to his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, there's a certain common sense to life. And you're going to have to be saying to me, which I'm going to tell you you're not going to be able to do, that he really wanted to see his child, which is what you're going to tell me. And instead of his ex-girlfriend and saying, listen, I know I've been less than a parent and I've been less than interested. I'm getting older. I myself around. I would like to see our daughter, right? He asked you, his current girlfriend with who he's living, to call his ex and say, we would like to come out to visit. It's absolutely ridiculous that if he really would have his current girlfriend make the call, which would just exasperate this woman no end, that now he's living with somebody. Who are you?
I'm the child's mother.
Who called you?
She did for
Good,
him.
sit.
For him.
Sit. Called her.
He tried to reach out to her first, and then she wouldn't.
When you called her, what did you say?
I said that Lorenzo's been trying to reach you, and I know that you two are on bad terms. He has done some horrible things, hasn't paid his child support, still isn't current on his child support. He's trying to make things so I'd like to try to step in between and help reunite a family. I know.
Okay. So you were helpful, and that's the second loan you are alleging for all the money that was spent his child in Kansas, for which he really didn't need you, because he could have gone alone. Okay. Give me the story that you claim you had him about paying expenses for this trip.
So for this trip, he said that, as long as we use my car, he would help pay the gas, pay the food, hotel, and he would pay me back monthly. He would just give me money and pay me back, and that never happened. Along with the dental bill, which I have text messages saying I have to pay me back everything that he owed me.
Okay, now I'd like to see the text messages.
Absolutely.
Okay, would you show this to Mr. Jordan? Okay.
I never said anything about a dental bill in this.
Yeah. There is discussion of a dental bill in there, not about anything else, but there is not the trip to Kansas.
Yeah, and the reason why I said that is because she said in this that, she's with me if I held up my end of the bargain on paying her back. And I was so concerned about getting back with her that I just said anything with her.
Who cares?
I do.
I don't. It seems to me, Mr. Jordan, first of all, you said it, and it's in writing. Right now, do you still have the teeth?
Yes, I do.
Very nice. And are you living with her?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you have the pleasure of the teeth, and she has the pleasure of paying...
The gift that she gave me.
Just not according to you. I would have said it was a gift, actually. I actually would have said, listen, I want to be among those stupid women who loans a guy money, and he doesn't pay her back. And he doesn't, I'm speaking, don't interrupt me. And then lends him some more money that he doesn't pay her back. And he doesn't pay her back again for months and still lives there, and then have a fight about something and have a bad breakup. Well, you take that on the chin. You have to learn your lesson. Otherwise, you deplete your own bank account, and your kids are going to have to pay this dental bill for teeth that you can't enjoy. So I would have dismissed her claim, actually, for the dental bill, because you lived together when the dental work was completed, and you didn't pay for it. And you didn't pay 1 month, you didn't pay 2 months, you didn't pay 3 months, and then she took you on a vacation. Do you understand? In that text, and I don't care what reason you're going to give me, that I'm going to pay for the dental work. That's what you say.
And that I'm going to...
Oh, no, I didn't say that. You didn't say, I'm going to pay for the dental work.
Never said that.
You said, I'm going to get a check, I'm going to pay you what I owe. And she's referring, in the preceding paragraph, to dental work.
No, that's an inference. She's not referring to that.
No, just a second. I want to see if the word dental appears anywhere in there.
In my paragraph.
It doesn't have to be in your paragraph. It has to be in here. That's what the reference is about. The only thing you should be doing is paying your dental bill. That's before. That she says. And you answer her, I'm going to hold up, is what you mean, but you don't speak English here. And she says, well, I can't trust you. You have the money to pay me right now, and you're nit. You mean not. Let me prove this to you. I don't want to use you. I want to pay you what I owe you, and when my check comes in, I'll get in that. That's what you're referring to.
I wasn't referring to a dental bill.
Well, what money? What money were you referring to?
About rent. I wasn't talking about a dental bill.
Well, she was talking about a dental bill, and that's what you responded to. So I don't have to even go into this trip, which I would have dismissed because that's your... but the dental bill is well over $13,000. Now you have a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
And that's an interesting counterclaim. You have a fight. You allege in this physical fight that Ms. Parra assaulted you so badly that you had to be in the hospital. I want you to tell me about it.
Christina Parra is accusing former boyfriend Lorenzo Jordan of refusing to pay his dental bill and travel.
We're now on your counterclaim.
And the reason why she said she was getting child support is because she no longer has her kids because the incident happened in front of her kids.
Just a minute.
So the night we were talking, we were drinking.
Give me a month, day, and year?
June 30th, 2020, I think, and going back and forth, and I wasn't paying attention.
Just a second. Had you both been drinking?
Yes, we were.
And you were arguing back and forth about what?
I wouldn't even know what it was about.
Okay. Do you remember what the argument was about?
Yes, because I have a police report.
I'd like to see it, please.
Absolutely.
And the police report.
Shh. I can read. Okay, this is what I gather from reading. On the 20th of June, the two of you were clearly blotzo drunk and behaving in a loud and boisterous manner, and somebody else called the two of you, not either of the two of you.
I called the police because my head was leaking blood.
Nobody else had called the police, not a neighbor?
Probably so, because.
Right.
But the reason why they came was because of me.
I don't know if that's the reason that they came because of you. Clearly, you had had some kind of conference before, because this was not a first time that the two of you were blotto and making a lot of noise. That's what I get from the police report. And it's clear, Miss Parra, that you were uninjured. You had a slight scratch on your chest, according to the arresting officer, the police officer, and a scratch on your hand, neither of which you wanted filmed. You gave me the police report. Mm-hmm. Right. And then the officers tried to calm things down, told you to both be quiet. He was taken to the hospital by ambulance, I assume, because he was bleeding because you had hit him over the head with a speaker.
In self-defense?
Yeah. I don't think it was self-defense, but you had hit him over the head with a speaker. Blotto drunk.
Self-defense. Look at me.
I didn't ask you a question.
Okay.
There's no question before. Perfect. After he was taken away, you continued to behave in a loud and belligerent way, and from upstairs.
I believe it's two different police reports.
They are two different police reports. Mm-hmm. And according to the police report, somewhat of one of those windows upstairs, so either it was you or a neighbor, but someone there threw a firework, a lit foot of the window, and it landed outside and went off, and you were continuing to be loud. So they called social services. They feared for your three children who were in the house. How old are your children?
15, 13, and 8.
And they removed the children.
Because of
they removed the children.
Yes.
And that was in June of 2020.
No.
What day?
October.
October what?
October 6th.
So are you telling me that they didn't remove the three children that night just for their safety?
No.
Not what I'm reading here. Let's say that's true. So they conducted a hearing in family court?
Yes.
And you testified?
Yeah. No, I didn't. No.
You didn't testify?
Nope. My lawyer advised me not to.
Was there a criminal proceeding pending against you?
There's not. No.
Was there?
No.
The lawyer can't tell you not to testify against yourself. Lawyer said you don't have a case, maybe, but there was no criminal proceeding pending, so you can't take the Fifth Amendment. I'm according to you, and you had never been arrested for assault. Is that right? Assaulting him. Okay. So the children are now in the custody of who?
Their father.
As a result of a court order.
Yes.
And he did testify.
Who?
Their father.
No. I don't think you're understanding what kind of court it was.
I'm not talking about criminal court. I'm talking about family court.
Family court, yes. So they...
You mean the judge just says, I think
No, they talked to the
should...
children, and they took the facts of what you have in your hand there, the police report.
Just a second, are you telling me that the judge didn't appoint a law guardian for the three children?
Yes, he did.
Of course. The court a quarter of a century.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
three children were represented by counsel. Either the children, the older ones, testified, or counsel for the children report that they had interviewed the children and the children wished to remain with their father because their mother is a nut.
Yes.
So why from you?
Sorry.
It was based on his toxic behavior.
Her co-defensive.
I don't care. I'd like to see you.
This is just my...
Just let me look at it. Maybe you can gather, but out of you. This is a discharge. Well, this doesn't help me at all. It doesn't tell me what you were there for. Nothing. It says, General, no acute distress, awake. Well, sir, you're asking this court to give you $5,000 on something that doesn't. You could have been admitted for a gallbladder attack.
No. The police report does.
No, sir. Pay attention. You want $5,000, little trouble, and ask North Shore System to get you a copy of your medical records so I can read them.
Yes.
Well, you didn't. This is not evidence. It doesn't tell me anything. You could have been admitted there for a splinter in your finger. Would you return this to him, please? Thank you very much. Mr. Jordan, you're going to pay for your own teeth that you smile with and eat with. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. Yes, we're finished.
Court adjourned.
Well, she hit me over the head and caused severe injury to my brain.
Being abusive, stick with the order of protection. Don't drop it.
Toxic and very codependent relationship.
I just tried to help somebody, and in the long run,
Justice wasn't served.
So I've learned a lot of things since being here, legal issues, legal concerns, but also social issues. And so one of the things I've learned is never lend a significant other money without a written loan agreement, because we've seen how they turn badly far too often.
I especially wouldn't lend a boyfriend money.
Alexandra Sanchez Moore are suing Brandon Alvarez for trespassing and an assault.
No order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Good morning, Judge. We have case 1033 Martinez versus Alvarez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your last name is Sanchez?
My fiance.
And you're his fiance?
Yeah.
Why don't you have a seat for a moment? Because really about you, Mr. Martinez. Your fiance was a witness to these events and may have been, according to you, traumatized by them. But it's the two of you. That be a fair statement?
Correct.
Let me see if I understand. You have in your home a music studio.
Yes.
Is it on the maiden
It's
level?
in my son's room.
How old is he?
He's 4.
And that's where you do,
That's where I record.
that's where you record. You had a friend.
Correct.
You and were doing music together.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And at some point, you became acquainted because you were acquainted with
artists.
his friend. You decided that you and your friend would like to use his son's room that doubles as a recording studio for some music.
Correct.
So you started to work together, and then you and your friend had a falling out.
Correct.
Prior to you having a falling out, according to your aunt, you purchased a microphone
That's correct.
to use in recording. You acknowledged that he purchased a microphone that he brought to your son's room/playroom. After you and your friend decided, after this falling out, and you were aware that there was a falling out, you stopped going to the studio.
That's Your Honor, if I may, I had been to the studio about 2-3 times. It's just, I work a lot. I work 12-hour shifts.
No, listen to me. Don't give me a lot of things. If anything that I said is wrong, tell me. Don't enhance it. I don't need enhancing right now. I'm trying to set the stage of what this case is, okay?
Correct.
So you and your friend split up, and you decided that you weren't going back to the studio anymore, or that you would continue working with his friend. Because I feel peculiar about it, let's call your friend Steve.
Correct.
Now I feel more comfortable. So you continued to work with Steve.
Yes.
At some point, you wanted your microphone back.
That's correct.
And you come back to Mr. Martinez.
That is correct.
Mr. Martinez said he sort of felt uncomfortable because he's still working with Steve. So he says he gave the microphone to Steve to give back to you.
Yes, Your Honor, that's incorrect.
Just telling you what's in here.
Okay.
According to you, Mr. Alvarez, this is your claim, trespassed on your property in order to get the microphone back, and in the process assaulted you seriously in front of your fiancé, which is next to you, and your 4-year-old son.
Yes.
Traumatizing them.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez has a cross complaint. He says he did in fact your house because you stopped returning his calls to retrieve his expensive microphone, and you in fact assaulted him, and he's got that assault. That's what this case is about.
That's correct.
All right?
That is correct.
So we have a claim of assault, and also phone back. And you have a claim of trespass. Did you get your microphone back, by the way?
I received my mic, but not my other piece of equipment.
Auto equipment. From whom did you get the microphone?
Well, the person that you claim that I'm not friends with anymore, Steve. I'm still
Steve.
friends with Steve.
That's it. back from Steve.
Yes.
Did you get it back from Steve before or after this altercation between the two of you?
After the altercation.
Altercations. How much after the altercation? A day,
It was
two?
a week. It was a week. It was a week.
A week. So now we're just talking about assault. So on what day this assault took place?
May 15th, 2021.
What time of the day?
1 p.m.
At your home?
At my home.
Fiance and son were there?
Yes.
I'm listening.
They ended, Steve and Brandon ended, the May 15th?
Get to May 15th.
May 15th,
I've
2021.
just laid out the case.
1 p.m.
Just a second. Was
Pretty clear.
it clear to you?
Very clear.
Got it? I just want to know because you're my ears to the tens of millions to watch us. All I want is what happened. You had the microphone. You gave it to Steve. You shouldn't have given it to Steve. It directly back to him. It was a mistake. You cut him off.
Yes.
You didn't return his calls. Now he comes to your house, 1 p.m. Pick it up from there.
May 15th at 1 p.m. Me and my fiance are in the yard. We're hanging. Brandon pulling up to the gate right off the bat saying, "Yo, Rebel, what's my mic at?"
Pulled up to what gate? Is there a...
It's a side home. We live on a side home.
Okay.
So
Pulled up to the gate. Was anybody with him?
he had a driver with him.
Somebody was driving the car.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he lets himself in.
Opened the gate.
Yeah, he opens the gate, immediately lets himself in, immediately started asking for his equipment. I respond by telling him, I don't have, Steve has your stuff. You need to leave because, no one let you in. As I'm walking towards him, I'm telling him,
As you're walking towards him.
As I'm continuing to refuse to leave.
No. Tell me, as you're walking towards him, what he said to you and what you said to him.
Telling him, get out of here. Give me my stuff. At that point, at that point. I'm trying to shove him out.
Okay, so we're going by frame.
Yes.
He's in your yard. He's let himself in. Mm-hmm. He wants his stuff. You say, get out of here.
Yes.
You start shoving.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
How did you start shoving him out?
I just put one hand on him, telling him, hey, man, get out of here.
Okay.
You need to leave.
Well, first you picked up two hands. Two hands? That's what you picked up first.
It was one hand.
One hand, you put your hands on him and say, hey, man, get out of here.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And to leave. He's still refusing to leave.
Just a second. What happened next?
I try to keep shoving him again.
Okay, just a second. So you're shoving him with one hand or two?
I believe with two hands.
Okay, so now you're shoving him back towards the fence.
Towards the fence.
Telling him to leave. Next.
At that point, he gets very aggressive.
No, just a second. Just tell me what happened. You're shoving him now with two hands back towards the fence, probably exchanging words. He wants his stuff. Get out of here. Probably lots of bad language. You're shoving him out. What happened next?
In my face.
Okay, so he punched you, and then what happened?
At that point, I'm stunned. I'm like, what's that for? What's that for? And then he's still saying, give me my mic. So at that point, my wife grabs a brick because she feels in danger.
Just don't. I don't care what she feels. Your wife picks up a brick. What does she do when she picks up the brick?
She's verbally telling him, get out of here.
She picks up a brick and she's saying to him, get out of here.
Get out of here, Chief.
Pointing at him, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And how far from the gate was he?
When he was backing up.
Yes.
So when he noticed my wife picked up the brick, he was still at the gate. He was still like in between the gate. So
he's still...
Yeah, he's still at the...
So when you were pushing him, was he at the gate?
No, he was in my property.
How many feet was he in the yard?
10 feet inside the yard.
10 feet, picking up as you were pushing him. Because now you say he's at the gate when your wife picks up the brick. That's what you just said.
Yeah, I pushed it so he can leave, but then he got aggressive, punched me.
Well, I want to know where...
Yeah.
Where was he when he punched you?
In my yard.
10 feet in.
Yeah.
But at some point, he got to the gate.
Yeah.
Because you said your wife picked up a brick, and at that point, he was just inside the gate. 10 feet in, so he had backed up. And I want to know if he backed up because of your shoving him or if he walked backwards towards the gate.
Came back towards the gate.
Is that because of momentum, because you're shoving him, or is he walking himself back? He's going to have a whole different story. But
no.
Paying careful attention to your story.
Yes, he starts backing up because he notices my wife pick up a brick. I'm still to leave as he's backing up towards the gate. I'm not shoving him anymore at this point. I'm still telling him, still giving him a chance to leave.
Okay, so now he's at the gate, and you and your wife are 10 feet away. Because he's already punched you, according to you. He's already punched you, and he's not because you're shoving him, but because what you said was he saw your wife, which he saw your wife pick up the brick, so he was walking him, shoving him. That's what you just told me. See why Whitney is so important?
Yeah. He said picked up the brick, he was still at the gate, he was still in between the gate.
Yes.
So now he's between the gate.
Yes.
Now tell me what happens next. Now he's at
the gate. I'm still pointing to leave. I'm still giving him a chance.
Just a second. How far were you from him when you were pointing to him?
We're next to each other.
But you were 10 feet away when he started to back up.
No, he was 10 feet. We were 10 feet into my yard. Into my yard.
Just a second. Into your yard.
Yes.
And he starts to back up because he sees your wife pick up a brick because he's punched you. He, according to you, was backed up feet in. He moves back the 10 feet because he's in between the gate. So you are following him, telling him to leave.
Yeah.
Is that you're 2 feet away?
Yeah, he's still in my yard. He's still in the driveway. And so... Yes, we followed him because
moving to get away from your wife and the brick, and he was 10 feet away from you.
Yeah.
So why were you following him?
He was refusing to leave.
He was walking. He was 10 feet away. That's what you said.
He was only walking backwards when he noticed my wife.
That's just a second. That's exactly correct. Why were you close to him? Why did you there with your fiance?
Because we were in fear that he was going to come back in.
Oh, that's ridiculous. All right. So now I'm getting your picture. So what happened next? So now you're this close to him again because you walked forward as he's walking backward, and
he's saying, "Come at me, bro." He's telling me when we're at the gate. He's telling, "Bro, come at me."
And what's next?
So I start defending myself.
So let me understand this.
Yes.
You've shoved him one hand once and then shoved him with both hands. He's backing up after your fiance picks up a brick. Follow him to the gate because he's backing up, and he says to you, "Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro." So then you punched him.
No, I didn't punch him.
Defending myself. What does that mean?
It just means that I have my hands up, ready for him to. If he strikes at me, I'm ready to defend myself.
Well, no, you didn't use the words "I'm ready to defend myself." I defended myself.
Yeah, I defended myself.
That's what you said. So is that what he said? Yeah. So my question to you is, what do you mean you defended yourself? There's no question he was injured. There's no question you were injured. So I want to know what you mean when you say, "I defended my same grilling," not to worry.
Yes, and his fiancée, Alexandra Sanchez Mar, claimed Brandon Alvarez assaulted Danny after he trespassed on their property. Brandon is countersuing for sound equipment and claims he was the one assaulted.
You're at the gate. We're going at this frame by frame.
Yeah.
Come at me.
Yeah.
And you do.
Yeah.
Because you're walking towards him.
Yeah.
And what happens when you get to him? Is not an answer.
Right next to me with the brick. So she's still with me in the driveway. We're leading towards the sidewalk because he's just backing up.
Just a second. Now he's on the sidewalk.
He's leading towards the sidewalk.
You're in the driveway.
Yes.
He's in the driveway.
He's still in the driveway.
The driveway beyond the gate, or it's still inside the gate?
It's beyond the gate.
So he backed out beyond the gate?
Yes.
So now he's beyond the gate to come into your yard? Is not an answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you and fiancé with the brick are following him, and he's...
Yes.
And you're in the driveway?
Yes.
Well, why don't you just go back in and close the gate?
Because he's refusing to leave.
Just a second. He was leaving.
No, leave, turn, and you're walking towards your car.
Would I turn my back towards somebody with a brick?
No, Your Honor. No,
All right.
Your Honor.
Let me hear about you shoved him, he punched you, and she picked up a dangerous instrument. So that's so far.
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
So we leave driveway. I put my hands on my wife, letting her know that it's okay.
Fiancé.
My fiance. I put my hands on her, letting her know that it's okay. Sidewalk at this point. But instead, he strikes me again at my face. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this guy, he's not leaving. So I grab the brick and I toss it at him. I miss. At this point, he tackles me towards my car, and I'm trying to hold him down. We ended up on the ground. He, somehow overpowers me and slams my face to the cement. And
Okay.
when we're getting up, he knees me in my collarbone.
Your version.
Your Honor, I don't have...
Just a second.
I'm continuing.
Everybody has a reason to lie. Whether you lie or not is something that I unfortunately are going to have to determine. 2021, 1 o'clock. Who was driving?
My cousin was driving.
Had you tried to call Mr. Martinez before?
I can't get a hold of him that way. My only form of communication with him was through Instagram, and he blocked me and he read my message.
Okay, on what date did he block you?
May 5th, it's him.
Do you have that message?
That's correct, I do.
I'd like to see it. Okay, I'm looking for this date. That's Wednesday?
I'm 21.
May 5th? Okay, and this happened 10 days later.
Correct.
And you said, what's up, G? I'll stop by your house tomorrow around 2 to pick up my mics.
Correct.
Did you get a response from him?
No response at all.
And you didn't go over the next day?
No, I passed by and his car wasn't there. That's how I know that he wasn't home for anything.
Okay. And did you at some point block him from communicating with you?
At some point I did.
Just a second. At what point? On what day?
May 8th.
You blocked him on May 8th.
I was texting and calling Steve. Steve had let me know that he was going to reach out to him. I had let this out, keep me out of this.
Well, you hadn't had a fight with him.
No.
So why wouldn't you just give him back his mic? What were you dealing with Steve for?
I was still asking for some advice. Steve was already letting me know that.
But this is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Clearly, Steve knew his mic.
Yes.
Because he gave it back to him at some point. So he knew that it was his mic. You knew that it was his mic.
Yes.
So, and you hadn't had an argument with him,
Yeah.
Mr. Martinez. So I'm not figuring out why you ask Steve for advice on May 5th. Say, you know what, we're not going to be home on May 5th. I'll leave your mic on the porch. I'll leave it in the backyard. There's a piece missing.
Because Steve was telling me to ignore him. He was telling me...
Oh, well, but just a second. Steve was telling you to ignore him.
Yes, yes.
As to why you would listen to that.
Because I trusted Steve. I trusted him, and that's where I made a
Just a
mistake.
Well, then it's your mistake.
Yeah.
Anything that would suggest that what he was asking for was unreasonable.
Yeah.
He left a piece of valuable equipment at your
Yeah.
house. You knew it belonged to him. He said, I'll come by and bad about it. You don't respond to him. You block him from your Instagram. I mean, the smart thing to do, Mr. Alvarez, is to, that's the smart thing to do. To go over to his house is not smart thing to do because, he's acted like a dummy. By Blockstagram.
Your Honor, I didn't think there was any... I mean, there was, like I said, me and him, I've met his wife before, I met his children. I mean, there was never any...
Any bad?
Never any bad. I didn't think anything of it. I was just trying to pick up my equipment. It was my equipment. He knew it was my equipment. He even suggested for me to buy that equipment.
Just a second. I get it. So tell me what happened, because I'm not understanding his whole business here. By the way, a brick is a dangerous instrument. If you followed him out into a public street with a dangerous instrument, that's a no-no. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not a dangerous instrument if you build it. If you threaten somebody or if you throw it at them, it's a dangerous instrument. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now I want you to tell me your version. You went there. He had blocked you from Instagram so that you know that for some ungodly reason, he's blocked you, he's cut you off. Problem with him before, so you go to his house with a driver.
Correct.
1 o'clock in the afternoon, unannounced.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you go into...
Well, no, first I'm walking, right? Like you said, I'm walking to the side gate. And his parents live separately. They live on one side of the house, and he lives on the other side of the house, right? You have to get in through the gate to knock. I smell weed because they were both smoking outside. And his son wasn't outside like he says, so it's just a little strange to me.
Okay. So you smelled marijuana?
Yes, I smell, yes.
Okay.
Well, from his front of the yard. It's his front of the yard.
Okay. Keep going.
Like I said, I'm walking to the front gate. I told him, hey, what's up? Where's my microgram? What's that all about? And I'm stepping inside. I'm not 10 feet inside.
Just don't.
Okay.
You're stepping inside the gate.
I'm stepping inside into his gate, still open. He approached me with one hand. He grabbed my neck. He doesn't shove me. He grabbed my neck. And I have, if I may, it shows that he clearly grabbed my neck, not shoving me. I mean, you're not going to have any marks of shoving.
Can I see what he's got?
There's a timestamp on there as well.
Who took this photograph?
I did myself.
Go ahead.
As I said, he grabbed my neck, and so, like anyone would, I reacted and I punched him so he would let go. I was not 10 feet inside. My back was towards the gate, and as I reacted and I punched him.
What was being said?
He was telling me, get here, get here. I don't have your equipment, and I was just telling him, you have my equipment. I haven't gotten my equipment back. And at this point, him and his wife both picked up a brick, not just his wife. That's why he said I was walking with my back toward the street. I didn't want to turn around. I was in fear that I was going to get hit with a brick by both of them. And so as I'm walking out the gate, and he still opens the gate and he follows me. And this is when he approaches me and he tries to hit me with a brick. He swings on me with a brick, and I reacted and I hit him again. This lower picks up the brick again, and I'm still walking like he says. I'm already towards the sidewalk. I'm trying to leave, but he throws it at me, and he comes and he tackles. That's how you see in the pictures. I have the abrasions and the marks from my side. And like he said, he was trying to hold me down on the floor, and I picked him up and I threw him off of me. I'm still trying to get away from him because.
Did the person who was in the car get out of the car?
No, they never got out at any point.
You have a lot of paper with it.
Video?
I'd like to see it.
Okay. I have multiple angles. So this is the angle where he...
Just a second. I couldn't see it.
Okay.
Could we see the video?
Martinez and his fiancée, Alexandra Sanchez Mar, are accusing Brandon Alvarez of trespassing and assault.
Okay. Could we see the...
It's you right there.
You both picked up bricks.
No, I don't have a brick.
Yeah.
I just dropped my phone on the ground. I'm pointing at him right now.
The brick. He had the brick in his right hand.
Right here, you'll see I don't have a brick.
See?
I'm saying, come at me. I don't have a brick in my hand. There's no brick in my hand. It's just my wife. He strikes at me here. This is when I got fed up.
Why are you... What? I don't understand, sir. Why are you street?
Because he's saying, come at me. He's saying that he's saying he's not going to leave.
He's leaving.
No, he's not. So when you on the side clearly see me telling him to leave, I'm still pointing to leave. He swipes my hand down. He's knocking my hand down, saying no. I would not come at who's already going to leave. I'm only going to come at somebody that trespassed.
Don't tell me what you're going to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you tell me that you think that you acted appropriately,
yes,
you may have from Steve, and that may have been your problem. And maybe smoking a little weed and taking bad advice from Steve all got it together. It wasn't a little shove that you gave him. And he wasn't somebody who had done anything to you, except that you took some bad advice from Steve.
Yes. He was told to leave multiple times by my wife as well.
You don't have a wife. All you had to do was give him back his equipment.
No.
But excusing coming to your house unannounced. What I'm saying is that you were high, you were taking bad advice, you took his property and gave it to a third of his property, which he probably shouldn't have done unannounced because he knew that there would be trouble. But you don't see any complicity on your part.
Yes, I messed up on
a lot of things.
On
a lot of things. On a lot of things. You put your hands.
I have proof here.
I'd like to see whatever.
Was going to reach Steve.
Let me explain something to you. The fact that Steve was going to reach out to him is not relevant to this case. Your house, if Steve had reached out to him before the 15th of May.
Correct.
He wouldn't have. That's your fault. He reached out to you.
From May 5th to May 15th, in my head, I thought Steve reached out.
I don't care what's going on in your head, sir. Clearly, when he came to your house, you knew that he hadn't gotten his stuff back. And instead of saying to him, listen, I don't have it. I gave it to Steve. I'm sorry. I gave it to Steve. Your yard. He doesn't think that there's anything wrong in being in your yard, sir. It's not as if you had bad words with him before. The only word you had with him of May when he said, I'm coming to pick up my mic, and you weren't home. And then you blocked him from Instagram. You had not had a bad word with him. He was in your house, as I can tell, with Steve, playing music, with a mic that he brought to your house and some of your equipment. And whether Steve to reach out to him, that is totally irrelevant. It didn't happen.
And if
that's the proof that you have,
yes.
Well, this case, that Steve was supposed to reach out to him. That's not relevant.
So if he reached out to
I don't answer questions. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. Evidence.
Yes, I have evidence that I wanted to.
Listen.
Yeah.
Unless you have evidence that prior to May 15th, that Steve returned his mic to him.
I have.
No. Unless you have Steve returned his mic to him.
I have evidence that Steve picked up the microphone.
From your house.
From my house.
I said that 20 minutes ago. He and Steve had a falling out. You remained friendly with Steve. You knew that he had a microphone that he brought to your house. Messaged you for the microphone on May 5th. Instead of responding to him like a person, you called Steve for advice, this genius. He says, just ignore him. And you, Mr. Brilliant, decided to just ignore him and block him from Instagram. That's what happened. Am I right? Yeah. Am I reading it right?
Yeah.
Your case is dismissed. Now, let's get to your counterclaim. There was an altercation here. It was a nasty fight. More injured than the other, perhaps. You didn't spend any time in a hospital, did you, sir?
I had spent time in my house, sick time.
I don't care if you... The question was a simple one. Did you spend any time in a hospital?
No.
Did you, Mr. Alvarez?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
When?
If I may have evidence for here.
Okay, so you said you had a visit with the doctor over the internet, right?
Correct, over the phone.
Over the phone. And you said you had a backache because of it you had, and it hurt, and he told you to take pain pills of muscle pain. Mm-hmm. That was it?
That was it.
Right. Well, you shouldn't have gone to his house. You had a fight. You both behaved. You're lucky it wasn't worse.
Of course.
Of course. I had a fight because of your stupidity. Not his. Yours. Yours.
How can you blame me for
just a
his
second.
action?
I'm making a statement.
Yeah.
You took advice from Steve that turned out to be wrong. As I said before, your case is dismounted claim. You got your mic back?
I got my mic. I'm missing another piece that she still has.
Okay. You got your mic back?
Correct.
Okay. We're done here. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
This man came to my home thinking he had every right to think that I stole his stuff.
I do feel he was trying to steal my microphone. He didn't respond to me.
Due to me trusting someone, what happens?
I didn't want to get hit with a brick. I mean, no one wants to get hit with a brick.
No more bringing business to family locations at all.
It's just time to part ways.
It was very interesting because you can see the defendant clearly trying to back away while both plaintiffs or one of the plaintiffs had him. And had they struck him with that, that could have really led to some bad charges, some felony charges for assault with a dangerous instrument. Yeah,
that, you're allowed to defend yourself and your property with the degree of force that is being used he knew why he was there. I didn't see the defendant, when he first came in, being aggressive.
No.
I actually saw in the plaintiff getting up and being aggressive and telling him to get out. Anyway, but could have been a very tragic situation, just ended with a couple of lumps and bumps.
Keep your hands...
Right. Right. And if you have to resolve it and retrieve property and you have...
Lawyer Robert Erdman for medical costs and lost wages after being attacked by his rooster.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1170, Thomas versus Erdman.
Miss Thomas, your son was renting a room in the defendant's home.
Correct.
You have a home that has how many bedrooms?
3. I'm renting it, ma'am.
In the house.
I'm no longer there. I rented it from May until October 1st.
May of this year until October?
May of last.
2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for curiosity, why did you move out?
I came originally to San Diego before COVID to spend a few weeks. Before I moved to the UK, I had to rent a house because I couldn't leave. We were all in lockdown.
Right. So you rented the house.
Yes.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes.
Did the lease permit out rooms in the house?
Yes.
It did. I want you to think very carefully. Did the lease permit you to rent out rooms? It's a private dwelling.
I'm not sure.
That's a better answer. And what was the rent?
$4,850.
How many tenants did you have?
I had a roommate. To my knowledge, I would call it a roommate.
How many roommates did you have?
One.
How many people lived in the house?
Two. And the roommate.
Which roommate?
At the time of this incident, it would be Mr. Santoyo.
The property contains some property that allows you to have chickens and a rooster.
Yes.
Where did you get the chickens and the rooster from?
From Vista, California.
Were they young when you got them?
Yes, they're 3 days old.
Got one rooster?
The crux of the matter is that when you get chicks, you have sex of them, so it becomes problematic later. And some people don't get roosters at all.
You got one rooster?
Yes.
How many chicks?
There were 6.
Hens?
Yes. They're no longer in my possession. They're in Valley Center.
What's Valley Center?
It's a place near outside San Diego where chickens are legal. Problem is that I received a letter in the 15th of January. I've discovered that roosters were not legal.
Where you lived?
Correct.
Okay, case is about. Now I have a little bit of the background, what you were doing there. Your son was living with him as a tenant. You're paying $800 a month rent and learned that you did house cleaning.
Yes.
That was your company, and you just...
A small company.
And you started to clean the premise. Your son also lived.
Yes.
And it is your claim that the rooster that was there was an aggressive rooster and attacked you on during the time you were cleaning, and you want to be compensated to the tune of $7,000. Okay, so we have certain givens. We have a thing there, given.
There was an offer made to clean.
And she did.
Yes.
And you did pay her.
Yes, but it was, if I may, it was my hair. At first she offered to do it for...
Whatever. You paid her.
Yes.
It was a service that she was offering.
Correct.
How much did you pay her?
$100 the first
times did you clean the house?
I cleaned this home from October 17, 2020 till December the 11th. 2020.
So again,
6 times.
How many times did you go to his house to clean his house?
In that time spent 6 times.
And how much did he pay you each time you went?
Between $40. I never got paid $100.
Between $40 and $60 a day. And I assume you visited your son there, so you knew that Mr. Erdman had a rooster.
That's correct.
And of the 6 times, you only had a problem, according to your papers, with the rooster on 2 occasions.
That's correct.
The first occasion was in
December the 8th.
12/8.
Yes.
Okay. On 12/8, describe what happened with the rooster.
I went outside to take the through the alley. I would say around 10:45 a.m.
What time had you arrived that day? Do you recall?
9 a.m.
So you went outside to take the garbage out?
Yes. Mr. Erdman was standing to my left by the coop, petting his hens, and the hens were in the coop, and the rooster was in the coop. And as I was coming, I was walking on the walkway, and I don't know how it happened. All of a sudden, the rooster just came up. Actually, it's as huge as a turkey. Came up, came at me, scratched me, and I had enough time just to put my arm out so it wouldn't hit in my face.
Oh, it scratched your arm?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a picture of your arm?
Yes. That is just the first time.
Just a second. I'm just taking a look. I want to see. Okay. Okay, so it scratched you with a claw.
Yeah, with the claws.
Claw, this scratch. Yes. Okay. You didn't seek medical attention for this? It's a
Not
scratch.
For this, no.
It's a scratch.
Yes.
Okay. Want to see the scratch?
I can see him here.
Okay. So that's October 8th. Next.
The next injury was December the 11th.
Now, between the 8th and the 11th,
yes, on the 10th for my regular cleaning service.
Anything happened on the 10th?
No. Everything went fine.
Just a second. So on the 10th, you were there and everything was being paid on the 10th?
Yes.
How much did you get paid on the 10th?
$40.
And you put some peroxide on this thing,
Correct.
or you put something on and it went away?
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me what happened on the 11th.
The 11th, I came to Mr. Erdman's home at 9 a.m. He was highly upset.
Just a second. Is a conclusion. What did he say to you and what did you say to him?
I rang the doorbell. He opened the door. I asked him why the boxes, things from the front room was not picked up because the day before I didn't have time to clean the floor.
Just a second. He opened the door and...
Good morning.
And?
I came in and I looked around and I asked him, Robert, you didn't pick up the things that we agreed on the day before.
Okay. You had a discussion the day before about picking up what?
I was supposed to do the wood flooring. He's a very renowned photographer, so he had boxes, papers, business papers, all stacked up. And in order for me to do the floor, he had told me the day before that he would clear everything out.
Clear everything out. So you walked, but you didn't clean up so that I could do the floor.
Yes.
And he said to you?
He said, I don't want to discuss the floor. I want to discuss Jose. Where's Jose? He hasn't been here. Tired of him not coming home at night. And
just a second. So he said to you, I don't want to discuss the floor. I want to discuss your son.
Yes.
He hasn't been home.
Yes.
And what did you say to him?
He said, I feel that he should be more active, be more of a friend in the home, the evenings. And I told him, I'm not in charge of my son. I mean, he's 39 years old. And there is nothing I can do to influence him to be home at night. And to continue with me, I told him, I don't want to continue this conversation. I will finish the windows. And the conversation was kind of done for me. I proceeded to...
Okay. What happened next?
Judy Thomas claims her former employer, Robert Erdman, owes for medical lost wages resulting from 2 rooster attacks.
Now, what happened next?
As I was doing the windows, everything was fine to his coop. I was doing the bay windows in the inside and proceeded to the French doors. And as I finished the inside, I went to the kitchen facing, I guess, east. And the French doors are this way, so I couldn't see behind me, so I was changing the water. And while I was changing the water, I presume he came in, or I'm thinking he came in while I was standing, because when I turned around with the bucket, I went this way, went toward to look down, and there was this ill hen in a...
what?
He had a sick hen that was dying, so he had it in a little basket and a blanket, and these are the windows right in front of the door. So when I went out, I turned around, here's my bucket, and I'm looking at this hen and I'm thinking...
You turned around, you hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And
I'm doing the window, so I'm turning around thinking, where is this rooster? And as I'm turning around, the rooster hen claws me, and I'm up like this. I hit it down, otherwise it would have been clawed more.
No. Don't tell me what otherwise. Her clawed you again.
Yes.
Do you have pictures of that injury?
Yes. That's the only picture I have. I didn't take more. I just didn't think that was the same day.
Okay. So this is a healed scratch. This is a healed scratch. And these 2 marks come from this rooster attack on the 11th.
On the 11th, yeah.
Did you seek emergency treatment for these?
No, I did not.
So there is no medical report?
No.
What did you do for these 2 marks?
Marks are combined with my ankle. So when they both happened the same day, the same time, I also got injured on my ankle. The rooster, I whipped it down. It went at me 3 times.
On the ankle?
Yes.
Well, where's the photograph of it?
Right here.
I'd like to see it.
Actually, just take them out. They dated in order.
Well, what you're suggesting is that there's a puncture in your foot that caused it to swell.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a medical record of that.
I don't have. I don't go to the doctors here. What I did, I went to Mexico. I saw a certified pharmacist. I do all my medications through Mexico. I don't have health insurance, so I don't go to the doctor here. What I do is I have 28 years experience in the medical field. I'm a retired RN. I worked for the Navy, Balboa Medical Center. Took my medical advice, and I had.
And whatever it was, you treated this
on my
alleged wound on your foot from... Go. Let's not even talk about December 8th when she got scratched. I don't have to hear about it. I want you to...
December 11th, there had been previous conversations about steering clear of the rooster because it was aggressive.
Which is probably why it's not legal.
Yes, entirely true. Also because he's quite annoying.
He didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt him.
The conversation at the door when Miss Thomas walked in was heated.
Why was it heated, Mr. Erdman?
Ms. Thomas was extremely angry that the papers weren't taken up and gave me a lecture about it.
No, that's a conclusion. What did she say?
I don't have an exact recollection of it. I can say that it was heated. I'm going to leave it at that.
Heated on both sides or heated on just one side?
Both sides.
Well, now there's a heated discussion. The heated discussion is over. She continues to do her work.
Yeah, it affected the dynamics of the next hour, I would say. And that was part of the lack of additional dialogue concerning the whereabouts of the rooster, who was out with the chickens free range every day. So rather than closing the doors, as there had been discussions about keeping away from the rooster, the doors were left open, I would say, by both of us. There was a chicken in the house because it was going to go to the vets. Yes, Miss Thomas was scratched by the rooster. The rooster can't fly up high up. There's a thing called flogging, which is where they use the back of their claws to go at people. I did express concern. I asked if she needed attention.
It was on the 11th?
Yes.
Okay. On the 11th, did you see these 2 claw marks on her arm?
I only remember the one towards her ankle.
Nothing on the arm? We
didn't discuss the arm, so I can't tell you that. I'm sorry.
Okay. After the 11th of December, did Miss Thomas come back to work for you?
Record, but I do not think so.
After the 11th, Miss Thomas, did you come back to work for Mr. Erdman?
No, I got terminated the same night.
Tell me how that happened.
Message with the pictures of my injuries.
I'd like to see the text message that you sent him, and I'd like to see his response.
Here.
So she sent you a note on that day showing you her swollen foot.
Yes, I remember.
And you said to her, great to see that your foot is swollen. I will talk to the vet on Tuesday about trimming back his claw.
Correct.
And then you say to her, Judy, I think that under the state, as much as I regret it, it would not be a good idea to have you here on a regular basis. Unfortunately, there is nothing more to discuss on the subject. You are welcome here with Jose's invitation. Happy holidays to you. All the best. Now, you sent the defendant a foot, and it was clearly swollen. You treated it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take after you treated it yourself for the swelling to go down?
3.5 weeks.
Any proof of that?
It only shows in the picture because they are dated. I have 8 weeks of pictures, so they all dated in the back. That's the process of the healing. It starts with the 8th until the 29th of December, and then I have the other ones that show from December until the end of January, where it's getting better.
Ms. Thomas, did you go to see an attorney?
No.
These are very angry pictures.
Judy Thomas, claim lawyer Robert Erdman, owes for medical costs and lost wages resulting from 2 rooster attacks.
Now, did you ever think shot?
I had my last tetanus shot 7 years ago.
So what did you do to treat
I took antibiotics.
That you got yourself?
Yes, yes.
Did you ever communicate with the defendant after December 11th?
Yes.
When?
I sent him text messages from the 11th. I'd almost communicated with him on a weekly basis. I send him pictures, updates.
I would like to see the last update you sent him, your injury. Do you recall when that was, Mr. Erdman?
No, I do not. I deleted all the messages from Ms. Wahlberg about a month ago when I was leaving for where I was going.
I think that by keeping you updated that she was going to sue you? I mean, otherwise, why would she keep you updated?
Here.
Did I think she was sue me? I didn't think about it on a regular basis.
The update, yes.
Okay, so the last email that you sent him with a photograph was on the 1st of January 2021. And it's a 3-week update today, still very sore with a hard bump at both sites, palpable at the touch and visible to the eye. Is healed with visible scarring. And then on January 3rd, Mr. Erdman writes back to you, I have repeatedly regarding his move out. He has notified me of his intention to move out on the 3rd, which is tomorrow. The rent is due on the 1st of the month, and while I have made allowance for late payment, that is no longer an option. I would suggest that you make sure that he's getting his text in case he has had issues with his phone. Interest in hearing back from you. I am contacting you so that there is sufficient evidence that I have tried my best to contact Jose. And on to him. Listen, real good, you piece of blank landlord. First off, your mistake is you have no contact. He does not have to move out on January 3rd, 2021. What is wrong with you? Do you know anything about renters' rights? And then there's a ex only lived there 2.5 months, and you went crazy as so-called landlord. Now he is moving, and you as a landlord need to give him his appropriate time to move out and find appropriate accommodations. I do not understand your problem, but you need also. Now regarding the injury I sustained in December 2020 at your home by your rooster while in your cleaning service, would you like to address this in contacting you for at least 3 weeks via text? Called, did not get any answer, and forwarded my injury pictures regarding this injury, and you have not. Please let me know how you would like to handle or move forward with this issue by the end of January. After this date, I will file a case in small claims court, a valid animal control case. Looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, so she did contact you, Mr. Erdman, and send you photographs, period, of her swollen leg, an injury. How did you propose to address it? You do understand that the animal injured her while she was working there, and you are responsible for that.
I would say that the aggressive behavior kept me from knowing what to do, and if she was going to take me to small claims court, she would do so. Very simple. Her behavior and that kind of language was enough in that text.
Well, enough after 3 weeks of contact. Heard from you, Mr. Erdman. I mean, neither one of you appear to be aggressive kind of people. The fact that you resorted to language that was unbecoming, that happens.
Say why?
No. It's not important. You did. And he should have responded because it was his animal. His animal became aggressive. He was there. It was his contained what he knew to be an aggressive animal. He evidently knew that one of the claws was too long. You didn't do anything aggressively towards the animal. He is responsible for it. $1,000. I actually believe that you are entitled to that. You had at least 3 weeks worth of injury and discomfort, and I think that you are entitled to a judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $7,000. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
The rooster was supposed to be kept at all times while I was in service.
You'd have to ask her why she kept on coming back. I have no idea why.
And I believe he purposely left the rooster out.
Difference in attitude about life in general.
Just a very eccentric guy, so there was lots of ups and downs having to deal with, age differences and everything.
Don't buy chickens and you might get a rooster.
Thank you, Judge Judy, for giving this Judy justice.
Well, that was a much case than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I was surprised that you granted her the entire $7,000 that she was asking for with medical bills, no receipts, I just thought that was interesting, sort of out of character for you.
I was moved by the fact that she wasn't making up, that she had documented both in photograph and in text messages to him over that whole 3-week period. It was swollen. He acknowledged that he saw the injury on the day that it happened. And the fact that during that 3-week period, he didn't say that you need from me, acknowledging responsibility. Yeah. He did not. And she suffered an injury for 3 weeks.
Yeah. And I was impressed that she documented. Did you meet with an attorney before you started documenting? No? She knew that it was going to be something that was going to come up later, and she kept her documents in order.
Right. Perfect. I think she was much more credible, and I was surprised at the case and surprised